The U is back where it belongs, and that is in the playoffs, competing for championships. So happy for Mario Cristobal, the staff, and most importantly, these players who played incredible all season down the stretch when we all forgot about them. And now, Joey Galloway, we had a ticket to the Pop-Tart Bowl to watch Notre Dame. I know they got Touchdown Jesus. I know they got Rudy. But to quote my favorite country singer, Waylon Jennings, when you cross that old Red River, Haas, it just don't mean a thing. Because we're playing a game in Texas, and Miami is still the king. Pete, hop in here, baby.
D, I'm not a man who is at very much times at a loss for words. I'm at a loss for words, my friend. I'm at a loss for words, my friend. I've obviously been saying I had no faith that the committee would do this. I've thought that Miami has been 100%, deserving to be in this playoff, but nothing this committee did made sense along the way. You called it. You called that this would be a show. That's what it played out to be. How they jump and then they drop again. They move again back up this week with the loss of that. I don't know how any of this stuff makes sense. But thank you, Mario. Thank you, the entire staff, the players, for keeping this thing together, D, and winning. Miami got into this playoff because they finished and played the last month of that season the way they have not played the last month of a season in 15, 20 years, man. And the way that they stuck together and kept getting better, right? Not just getting over the finish line, kept getting better. You have to give all this staff and players and Mario credit. Could have packed it in. You could have expected that to happen based off how the last 20 years have been, man. But this is why you got to just continue to pluck away if you're Mario and staff, and continue to make these little changes to get you to where you want to be. And they've done just that, man. Like you said, I'm just happy for everyone involved in the program right now and stunned.
I want to go to two plays, right? And I want to give these people their props. The balloons are popping up automatically, but you know what it's deserved this time. I want to give two people their props. Malachi Tony, he's got enough. We know how good he is. The catch he made against Virginia Tech in garbage time is called finishing. It's called what Miami did not do in the past. And then CJ Daniels, okay? Carson Beck, ball slips out of his hand. He throws an interception against Pitt. I mean, it's a blowout, right? But kind of sour taste. Get the ball back. Our boy Narduzzi called the timeout. And then Carson Beck throws it to CJ Daniels. Could have just played it normal, whatever. It didn't really matter. CJ Daniels goes up and makes a spectacular catch to put the exclamation point on that game and to make it very easy for the committee. They did all their Monday Night Raw shows. They did all their SmackDown shows. This is the big blow-off, right? And if wrestling has taught us anything over the past 30 years, I think if people paid more attention to wrestling, they'd understand more about how this world really works, okay? From the top on down. This is the blow. This is the blow-off. This is the payoff. And right there, in front of everybody watching nationally, the committee finally does the right thing and moves Miami over Notre Dame, who it defeated on the field. Everyone in the world was on the side of Miami, by the way. I mean, it was Saban, Meyer, Feinbaum. I mean, Clay Travis. I mean, whatever side of conference. I mean, political people from both sides of the political aisle, people from everywhere in the college football world were united that Miami should be in over Notre Dame. And then they build the suspense. By the way, not only did they bake the show so big, all the debate shows. Imagine if Miami was heading Notre Dame the whole time. What are we even debating? Right.
Well, and something I was really wrong on, D, and I think now looking back on it, the odds makers have really no idea about this thing either. Florida State was minus 800 the year that they got left out, the morning that it started. There was even some movement in going against Miami there at the end. Notre Dame was minus 2,000 at the end there to get in, which is like ridiculously skewed in their favor there. So I'm thinking, hey, it's Miami or Bama, but that's not what the books had no idea what was going on there, which normally it's a pretty good telltale sign, but had no bearing on anything.
Not at all. I mean, it was all set up to go to the end, man. These guys are wild, man. There's Primetime Rambo, suck it, Joey. Let's freaking go. Right, another one here. Pete, you may hate him. Amanda Diaz wouldn't help us out. Listen, I didn't know how to feel about that one yesterday, but If that helps,
I don't know that. I don't think it mattered. If they would have, if UVA would have won it, they just would have taken one of the spots from JMU, and I don't know. Maybe they would have said that's the ACC team, but I doubt it. I don't know how it would have had any effect. But listen, you guys who want a 7-5 coach, I don't know, man. I like Mario.
You don't have to worry about that anymore because we got a playoff coach. We got a team that is in the mix for real, right? And to me, this season was about getting over the hump. And it was a weird position that we were in because I agree with you. Like when you were saying 10-2 and all the things that come with it and the finish and all that, I agreed with you totally. But there was always going to be a slight disappointment of not getting over the hump, right? Because we just last year, you had a good team, much improved, but you don't get over the hump. And ACC, obviously, that didn't work out. So you weren't going to get over that hump. But to get off this hump right here and to get into the playoffs, I think is monumental and validation for everything that's happened. You already know the recruiting class is good. We broke it down. You know, Pete, those portal kids are going to be seeing Miami on TV all day.
Need it.
They're going to be – that Miami is going to be shooting fish in a barrel in the portal, I believe.
Yeah.
And, you know, keeping your team together, their extra reps, and then really, man, to see Ruben Bain play again, you know, to see Akeem Messidor play again, to see Carson
Beck with a real opportunity. Don't be surprised. He's going to be playing against a really good Texas A&M defense, a program that's built on their defensive identity. Do not be surprised if he goes out there and he does his thing. And we were talking about it a couple weeks ago, D, when this whole thing was still up in the air. He could push still to be one of the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks. And I think he is going to be one of the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks taken when it's all said and done in this draft. And this opportunity. I'm being conservative. I'm being conservative with that. But shoot, you got to expect there's going to be a couple quarterbacks taken in the first round. There always is at least 2. A third that goes late first, and then you get a couple in the second round scouted throughout that. But yeah, he's going to be in that mix with a real opportunity against Texas A&M. And look, we'll get more into the matchup here as the show goes on, but I'm sure that everyone has seen a little bit, looked ahead and seen what's in that quarterfinal potentially.
Oh man, it's a hard road. We got our bracket's hard, but you know, how fun does that sound to say? Our bracket is hard. We're not talking about the NIT.
Hey, don't say the NIT because
we're not talking NIT.
Well, that's disrespectful to if you're saying Canes hoops, man. We're tournament.
Well, I know that's why I didn't want to say tournament because you know, we're going to be there too. That's why I said, you know, we're talking real brackets now.
Yeah.
Todd Jones, man, appreciate you. You're the man. There you go, showing off the guns. F Notre Dame, man. I love that they're suffering on this one and that the game mattered. Because at the end of the day, what are they going to say? And again, appreciate you, Todd. Huge. West End Zone saying, accept my apologies. You don't need to apologize, but I will say this, my boy, and you're not alone in this. A lot of people after SMU, rightfully based on what they were seeing, lost a lot of faith in the program and the program's ability, especially people who were sacrificing to pay for this great team that we have. You know, a lot of those people were upset. A lot of people canceled their subscriptions to Canes Connection. I don't blame them. I understood it. I didn't agree, but I understood it. Boys, I'm going to tell you right now, because I've been holding off on this because I didn't want to say it when things were blurry, but canesconnection.com/CIS, man. I appreciate everybody supporting us, obviously. This right here, canesconnection.com/CIS. You want to make sure that this roster is looking the way it is, where Ruben Bain and Akeem Messidor are beating the brakes off of Notre Dame and knocking their tackles back into each other and stuffing Jeremiah Love for 33 yards and bombing it to guys like Malachi Toney and Carter Davis sound a wee bit different off his boot. You like all that stuff? canesconnection.com/CIS. Be part of it. Now it's time you like this feeling? I like this feeling. Pete, I know, loves this feeling of us being in this conversation in December. You like these Decembers, these Januaries? canesconnection.com/CIS. Let's make sure that we are doing this every single year. And like Pete says, not on the bubble. We're chilling today in the future. canesconnection.com/CIS. Let's make this something sustainable. Let's bring it in tight. Woo, Notre Dame, man, they must be hurting right now, boy.
Man, forget about Notre Dame. When's this game? When do we have A&M?
I thought it was December 20th at high noon. I got the high noon behind me right there. Yeah, shout out to you, Gio. Appreciate you. Yes, let's get that thing back up and running with Canes Connection. Here's I'm not even listening to the show. So you guys, if you hear something cool in the show, let us know. Clutch says, sign me up, D. I'm sold. GainsConnection.com/CIS. There's Primetime Rambo. Appreciate all you guys. They said on ESPN, if UVA would have won, Miami wouldn't have been the selection. Who said that? That's interesting. Man, I don't even know. It's so nice to not have to worry about rooting for other teams. We just root for the Canes to beat Texas A&M in College Station, which, by the way, you guys want to do a little history lesson? Where tomorrow's Miami career really start? I guess we had a home game, right, against some scrub team, and then we went to College Station.
And I thought held their own for the most part, considering they didn't have the guys in the trenches yet, and A&M had been recruiting at a high level there.
Right. Truthfully, this is a tough matchup, man. I would have rather played any one of these other teams. As far as just like, I'm just happy to get in, man. But matchup wise, I think this is the toughest matchup of all these SEC teams. Quite frankly, maybe Georgia with the way they're playing, but these guys are good on the line.
This is, but D, we can go back to all these shows that we had before the season. And this is already getting into the analysis of the game without really sitting down and looking at it. But this is the sort of game that I said, how will Miami? We know Miami's trenches will hold up against a majority of teams on the schedule. And obviously manhandled Notre Dame in that game, and that's the reason why Miami's in right now. But this Texas A&M line on both sides of the ball is big, athletic, full of pros. So it's going to be a fantastic matchup. You're right. They're built very much like Miami in terms of the base of what they do.
Well coached too. No, it'll be a game. Yeah, Malachi, man, that was a huge play. I mean, for what huge plays. You heard Narduzzi say he's one of the best players. Narduzzi actually said he's the best player we played.
So here it is. Here's from Clutch. Yurachek just said Duke winning had no impact on choosing Miami. I figured. So
they wouldn't admit it anyways, but I agree. I don't think it mattered. There he is. Miami Bell B. Appreciate you. Donate. Let's keep this roster for the future. Beefy. It was meant for us to be. Go Canes.
We're going to have a couple weeks of this speculation here, D. Keontae Scott, whether or not he'll be ready. Hey, the boot's off and everything that, not to speculate too much, but, everything I heard initially was the hope for him was, hey, get him right for playoff time. And hopefully he continues to work towards that. So we got 2 weeks until this game, huh?
No, and they don't recruit. So they're going to be just tampering like crazy, or we're going to be tampering like crazy. They're going to be watching. They're going to be getting ready to play. But it's going to be a tampering podcast for 2 weeks.
D, this is, but you mentioned it. Having Miami in the national conversation right now is going to be so huge for recruiting, because this has never been the situation. You've always been getting ready for a lackluster bowl game that you're missing half your guys who are worth who are like your contributors, and at the same time you're recruiting, trying to close, but you got some action now. You've got something really to point to, and the energy, I think, at this time of year, we've never seen anything like it. Like in terms of, man, think about being a staff member right now or someone in recruiting. How reinvigorated are you, right? Like to get back in there this week and say, we are getting ready for a playoff matchup. The energy is got to be through the roof. It's been a grind of a season, man. It's been a weird year with the way that you start that first 4 or 5 weeks. Then you have those buys in between. And then you had a grind here this last 8 weeks, right? You did not have time off. So I think this last week they've been able to reset and kind of hope for the best, as we got
Honey's fired up.
Honey's fired up. Honey's always fired up. But man, I think just that energy right now is, you're going to see it here, on the recruiting trail, on the portal trail here coming forward. I'm pumped, man.
100%. The juice behind the program is just crazy. Like, I mean, I don't know how old the Duncan Devils is. I'm imagining he's a younger guy, although it's been so long. People in this boat are still getting up there. I mean, you're 31.
Dude, I've been saying I'm 31. And I remember the 01s. That was the first season going to games with my dad, season tickets, and then it was pretty much downhill after those first couple years. So I'm 31. This is the best moment if you're like as obviously an adult, someone old enough to really understand everything that's going on. And obviously we're in a new era. So that's why for me, man, I'm pumped up. I'm not. I'm like more shocked that they actually got them in, because it's not that I don't think that this was a worthy team, but the way it had been set up, I was just like, well, we'll see what happens, right? Fingers crossed. They're in now, so my mindset is shifting to, how do these matchups look? And it's nice to be on that stage. It's nice to see that logo up there. And we talk about what this does for recruiting, D. It gets you into that next echelon, I believe.
100%. I mean, now it's certified. Right now it's certified. Whatever happened, down the stretch last year, that's all kind of ancient history. This is a playoff team. This is a perennial playoff contender if it stays built to last, and I think it will be. 305 Blackhearts asking, do we have a chance against Notre Dame? I think it's going to be a tight spread in that game. Although I think Notre Dame I think Texas
A&M.
Yeah, I think Texas A&M is good. But I think that'll be a tight spread one way or the other. I'm not sure exactly what it is. Joey Galloway, man. Joey Galloway got a ticket to the Pop-Tart Bowl. Notre Dame's playing BYU in the Pop-Tart Bowl. I might just go to cheer. For BYU. It was such a fun. I enjoyed the Pop-Tart Bowl last year, even though I was so pissed off that we couldn't get into playoffs. So maybe after the Canes take care of Texas A&M, I'll take a trip to the Pop-Tart Bowl.
It felt, D, like the other part of it that had me kind of real pessimistic about it was it felt like Miami was getting no real help, right? You didn't get the Auburn didn't upset Alabama there. LSU couldn't close out against Oklahoma. Texas Tech winning was a given. Like that needed to absolutely happen, right? So it's help, but that was like a prerequisite for us, this conversation even taking place, right? So I just felt like, man, like you had 3 weeks there and there was no really huge, I mean, Texas beating A&M, but that didn't really help us. All it did was get Texas closer into the conversation there. So yeah, it just didn't feel like things were happening in Miami's favor. But again, the team control what they control, and they won the games the way they needed to. There was not even the conversation to be had if they weren't blowing these teams out the way that they were, D. So
100%.
To me, that's, you mentioned a couple of those pivotal plays. And remember, this team dealt with injuries down the stretch here. Keontae Scott was gone there for the last 3 games. OJ
David Blay
has been out. David Blay is.
Can we talk about something, Pete? Because I want to. This is your thing. You said early in the year, you're worried about defensive line depth, and not that it couldn't develop, but that it needed. That was something that needed to happen over the course of the year. That you needed guys to step up and be able to handle that in case there's an injury. Which, I mean, that's the fact. I mean, I think everybody was kind of dealing with that problem, but we certainly were as well. And then you see David Blay go down, and Justin Scott, not the same Justin Scott that he was when you made that comment initially. Ahmad Moten, not the same. Mondo Blunt playing more inside, and you were able to not only survive the loss of David Blay, which I think hopefully he'll be back for this game, because Texas A&M is going to pound you a little bit.
He's been banged up. He's been banged up pretty badly. I mean, remember Mesidor was banged up pretty badly at one point in the year. Herbert Scroggins had to get in there. Look at that, the Miami Beach Bulldog himself.
He just got back from his All-Star game. I had to leave early. Eli, I saw you when you pitch 3 up, 3 down, 2 strikeouts, right? And what about at the plate? I heard you got a nice little base knock.
Yeah, we got single.
You guys won?
Yeah.
All right, go Canes. All right, get out of here.
So 4.5 point spread. Go Canes. Eli. Yeah, 4.5 point spread here, which is, as Gio said, reasonable. I mean, it's a 3 point swing for a home game. So they're saying on a neutral site, this is a 1.5 point game.
Yeah,
I think it's reasonable.
Yeah, that's fine. Oh, Texas A&M's good. They're built the right way. They have the bet. Like, we can feast on bad offensive lines or let some of the worst offensive lines in this bracket, in this tournament. They have one of the better ones. I'd say they're probably the second best one besides us. So that makes it tricky, but it's going to be, look, that's why you play the games, man. It's playoffs, baby. You're not going to take, unless you're playing one of these G5 teams, which, it's fine. You got to beat good teams to be there. There we go. We're in the same bracket as Ohio State. Can't wait. F them Leprechauns. Appreciate your support. I think Ohio State's gettable if you get there. Now that's looking way in the future, right? But seeing Ohio State, I think, and this is just I've been saying this kind of all year, so I'm sticking to it. I do think that Julian Sane is the weak link for Ohio State, and that he's very good when things are perfect, but when you get pressure on him, I think his lack of size, his lack of athleticism, his lack of super explosive arm strength, that plays up when he gets pressure. You saw that with Indiana yesterday. So look, if we get to play Ohio State, which would mean we want to beat a very difficult Texas A&M team on the road. So I'm not trying to jump ahead, but that's I think still a winnable game for the Canes based on what I saw when Ohio State played yesterday against our boy, the first Cuban American Heisman winner, Fernando Mendoza.
How about that, huh? Another classic interview from him last night.
Yeah, Eric Walton, appreciate you. In the same 305, that similar question we answered that one. Yep. Sorry, I can go through these comments. I'm sorry. I'm trying to make sure we didn't miss any. Gio Kane says, let's go. Happy for the boys. Yeah, that's the main thing, man. These kids, like, we're all here happy for ourselves because we had to sit through all these Saturdays and stuff. These are the guys, man. This
would have been such a speculative December for us, man. I mean, because the portal doesn't officially open. Well, it still will be, but I'm saying like the portal doesn't officially open anyways for what, a couple more weeks here. So we would have just been talking about guys that could be entering the portal and all that, but we've got real football to talk about, man. It's gonna be funny because I haven't, and I'm sure you've the same way. We hopped on here right away, so I'm gonna be excited to hear what the analysis is like and what the kind of I don't even know if it's backlash based on everything that's been said.
No, people thought it was right.
Now Miami will be on under the microscope here with this performance. It will be a fair or not, right? I don't know that they should be judged this way, but fair or not, if Miami comes out there, not to be negative here, but lays an egg in a sense, it won't be a good look for now. They go out there and handle business and go into College Station, an atmosphere that's one of the toughest in college football, and Carson Beck plays a composed game, and Malachi Toney is the star that he is. Then they validate everything that has been said about Mario Cristobal and the program to this point. So I think obviously you play them tough. I don't think that it's going to be the end of the world, but you get what I'm saying with that.
100%. Or H. Canes, man, I know he's been in the trenches for a while. Appreciate you. The Arena. Appreciate you, man. You got to see us out there. I'm going to be out there guaranteed. So we'll get something together out there. It's a pretty boring town. I got to say, I went there the last time. There's not much going on, but we'll be out there. I'll be playing some George Strait, some Texas music while we enjoy hopefully a Canes win. Victor saying, I remember when you two were talking about how good Mendoza was, while most of us were saying he was no better than what we had. I didn't know he was this good. I'll be honest with you. I'll put hand on the Bible. I mean, I didn't expect him to win the Heisman Trophy, man. But
and by the way, I think you got to give the guy credit for choosing Indiana in his situation. That was obviously a great choice for him. Not that I don't think he could have done it at Miami if Miami really pushed there, but I think it was the right call for him.
Let's go Miami, Indiana, the championship, baby. And I'm riding with Carson Beck, man. I'm riding with Carson Beck. He's playing the best football of his season. He's been there before. Man, how cool would it be to see, him versus like a Stockton? And there's so many good matchups. Texas A&M is funny. Like in terms of like the sexy matchups, one of the least sexy matchups, but it's going to be a hell of a game. I mean, this is trench football. This is a real deal game, man. So I think it's going to be a tough game for the Canes, but obviously a game that
I think both teams are good enough to win the whole thing.
Agree totally.
In the first round matchup is what it is. So.
I gotta say, I mean, the key there is going to be explosive plays, right? Keep Concepcion in the end and Craver in check. Kane boy, appreciate you. Thank you for keeping the faith. Appreciate all you have done through the ups and downs. We all deserve this as Canes fans. It's been a long time coming, man.
I can't take any credit for faith keeping. So that's all you.
Well, let me tell you a story. So Pete, you know the story, I think. So today, December 7th, is 23 years since I first asked out my wife. Like my wife.
Yes,
now
I know where this is going.
We've been dating since December 7th, 2002. So that day where I asked her out, for those who might remember this game, was literally right immediately after Miami beat Virginia Tech to go to the Fiesta Bowl. And we're still wearing our UM clothes. So I asked her out. First trip we take, and this is literally the last game, right after the last game of this 34 game winning streak. So I say, now that we're going out, I'm going to Arizona. Come with me. We go to Arizona. First game was the Fiesta Bowl. So it's been 23 years of, beautiful family, beautiful marriage. So you take the good, but there's been a lot of bad on the Cane side. So it's been a roller coaster, so beautifully blessed personal life, but cursed Canes life. Sometimes you wonder about the trade-off when you're watching Middle Tennessee State bombing on us. But it's funny how it all works out. December 7th, man. A date which will not live in infamy. It will live in glory for the Canes getting back where they got to be. Pete, I had so many Pearl Harbor tweets lined up if they would have kept us out. Because this is, I know you're not a history buff, but this is the day where the Japanese struck Pearl Harbor, and FDR went on the radio and said, it's a day which will live in infamy, December 7th. So this day, the PR for this day has gone up a little bit, at least with the Canes fans.
Well, that's still the case if you're a Notre Dame fan. That's what they believe, I'm sure.
Yeah, someone's asking again. Can you answer the question? Keontae Scott back for Texas A&M? I don't know.
We don't know. He's been trying to work back. I mean, he's out of the boot, and we'll see what happens.
He's in good hands though, because he's at U Health Sports Medicine Institute. If you consider yourself an athlete or just an active guy like myself or Keontae Scott, you know how hard it is to sit on the injured list with pain or injury. Maybe you even try to hack your own rehab. But if compromising your movement or performance is not an option, call the experts at the University of Miami Sports Medicine Institute. Whether there's elite competition with Miami Hurricanes athletics or everyday movement, the University of Miami Sports Medicine Institute is the trusted choice for those who demand excellence. Set an appointment today at uhealthsports.com.
Our boy Ulysses says, Pete, nah, fam, stand on business now. Apologies are needed. Apologies for what, man? I've said Miami deserves to be in. I just didn't believe it was happening. I never said that they didn't deserve to be in. I've said from the beginning of the show here, man, I'm obviously pumped up and really proud of the entire organization for sticking together and doing it. I think Miami can win the whole thing. I don't know what apologies I need to. I never said Miami shouldn't be in.
Let me ask you this though, Pete, because and I don't know what the answer is. I don't know the answer. Do you think that the PR campaign, which was not just one website or one media outlet, I mean, this was like all systems go all the time with some of the biggest names and picking up a lot of steam. Yeah. Once you get to like the Sabins, the Sabins and this Myers and all this, the Feinbaums, do you think the media pressure helped on?
I think certain people did. I don't know that we'll ever really know that. I think at the end of the day, if Miami doesn't win the way they did the last month, all of this blows up in smoke and it doesn't matter, right? So I give more credit to how the team performed, because if you're winning these games by 1 touchdown, 10 points, this doesn't even matter. So I think, again, I go back to how the team competed and played and finished these games out more than anything. And there were a lot of, the way that they beat Pittsburgh, very similar to how Notre Dame did it. There was a lot of other points there that you could look at and say, hey, Miami beat them just as badly as Notre Dame did. So again, the way you beat NC State, the way you beat them, the way that you really dominated, like I was just talking about Pitt, Virginia Tech on the road. So could it help? I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know that anyone can really say that it did or it didn't.
Listen, I'll take whatever it is, man. And
yeah, I'm just glad we're in, man.
Our boy Mo Chetta, Canes Insight counter program the NFL. I forgot, man. I need to check my fantasy.
Shoot, we got 4,000 plus on right now, so I'll counter program the NFL. We'll take
counter programming us
ahead, man.
They're counter programming us, man. No, yeah. Well, I really forgot the NFL was even existing right now. I forgot to do my lineups, did all that. I mean, who cares, man? We got 2 weeks to get ready. This is a crazy thing too, which is, Pete, maybe there's too inside kind of media and stuff, just because like putting it on in our jobs. But I think what's interesting is like we have not been as a fan base, as a show, as everybody in the chat, like
someone who knows me very well is saying why I am how I am, guys.
Dr. Gonaga, appreciate you sharing the diagnosis in the chat.
He said my ways are a protection mechanism to be in denial of potential positive outcomes.
Well, we had a breakthrough through today, Dr. Gonaga. We had a breakthrough today. Yeah, man, that's funny. We as a fan base, meaning like people on CanesInsight.com, people in this chat, people on the YouTube channel, us doing the show, like we've not had this December where like you're in it the whole way. Like this season is going to continue at least until the 20th. I think it's going to continue until January 19th for a home game here in Miami Gardens.
That's what I'm talking about, the energy. We've never felt this is going into this point here. We're getting ready for a lousy bowl game and figuring who's going to leave. What's the deal? It's a whole different ball game now.
Whole different ball game, man. And we got to make our reservations at the Lickin'. Call Julio. Tell him the Lickin' on January 19th.
January 19th.
That's what we got. Peso Pluma coming into the concert the day before. I saw a bunch of people coming, like some DJs. It's like a whole thing, man. So we'll see, man. But look, at the end of the day, if you look at this season up to this point, and we all know it's not done, just through December 7th, okay? Beat all our rivals. Check. They're all going to be watching us in the playoffs. Notre Dame will be watching us in the playoffs. Florida will be watching us in the playoffs. Florida State will be watching.
Florida's got to worry about their coaches coaching in the playoffs now the next couple of weeks.
Right.
He'll be getting his team ready. So he's doing double duty right now. So imagine that.
Yeah. So they got a lot of stuff going on. So all the rivals defeated, 10 wins, and you're in the playoff, and you're, get top 10 recruiting class as well. I think so many boxes were checked by this year. Go for just the health of the program going forward. Just look at it. Like if you're a quarterback now, okay, now Cam Ward is one thing. Now you got Cam Ward and Carson Beck, both of them. Whatever happens to Carson Beck in the playoffs, we'll see. I mean, we said it. He's the second best quarterback since Dorsey. So,
hey, that story's still being told, my friend. I told you my thoughts in the middle of the season. I said you get to the playoffs, that discussion is going to be had.
At least. So
been having it.
But the point is, now you have not just, hey, you can be the next Cam Ward. It's like, hey, man, you're next on the carousel, right? Because we're talking about Cam, we're talking about Carson Beck, we're talking about a proven deal for these top end portal quarterbacks, recruits. You want to be the next Ruben Bain? Come aboard. You want to be the next Francis Malinois? Come aboard. You want to be the next Keontae Scott, whoever it is that gets drafted high? You want to be the next Malachi Toney? So now all of these things are wrapped in, hey, we're a playoff team. We're a playoff program, right? So the selling, like the stuff you need to sell is there for Mario. And luckily, the guy's one of the best salesmen in the country, and canesconnection.com/CIS is going to have his back.
Nick West says, can we please give credit to Mario? We all wanted to be there faster regardless. Hey, that's the first thing I said, man. Thank you, Mario. And again, thank you, committee, because the team didn't do anything this week compared to the last, compared to last week that changed us being in or not. But like, yeah, 100%. I was thanking Mario when they won 10 games back to back, because I think that in itself was a huge accomplishment. And this was not in our hands anymore. So at that point, now it is thank you, committee.
That's right.
Extend Mario, as our boy Mo Hussein always says, man. Extend Mario. He's got what is it? It was a 10-year deal, 10-year, $80 million deal when he
it's a bargain right now.
I think it's a bargain right now.
He's the 18th highest paid coach, and we're in the top 10. So
hey, extend Mario, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah. So there it is. JV Proctor, tough situation here. Sorry to hear about your dog, and I'm glad that Canes are bringing you up here. But appreciate your support, JVP, and hopefully the Canes keep bringing your mood up. And hope you get through that okay. But man, a lot going on, P. This is they maximized. This should have been at prime time. It shouldn't even have been at noon. I know logistically it probably had to, but this should have been at like.
Can we give Mario? I'll give Mario some more credit here. Making the top 12 team playoff with the 15th most talented team in the country, man. He just continues to overachieve.
Well, listen, I'll tell you this: there's certain guys you don't want to see in the playoffs, right? So, like, if you're talking about the playoffs, like if you're another team in the bracket, if you're Ohio State, right? You're just kind of like eyeing, you're like looking at it like Ohio State's trying to win a championship, So Ohio State and teams like that, Georgia, whoever, they're looking at the bracket. And when you see Ruben Bain, like, I don't care who you are, you do not want to see Ruben Bain in the playoffs. Like, that's like one of those where you're like, I wish he didn't get in. I wish Ruben Bain and Akeem Messidor did not get in the playoffs, because that is going to be tough for anybody to block. I think Texas A&M has a better chance than most because they have a good offensive line, but nobody, as we saw with Notre Dame, who also has a good offensive line, nobody's blocking those two. I think that's just looking, again, this is what Nick Saban said. Listen to the thing Saban says when he talked about, and obviously, by the way, I know he ruined college football for 20 years, cheating like crazy and being a great coach, but Saban's been my boy right now because he was strong. And I think listen to the things he says, the physicality in the trenches, and really the dominance of the defensive ends when he talks about why this Miami team is so tough. And I think those are things that are going to carry. Think about last year's playoff, right? Penn State, Notre Dame, Ohio State. A lot of the teams that had success in the playoffs last year was really the defensive teams, the defensive line teams were very, very tough. I think it's going to favor a team like Texas Tech, certainly going to favor a team like the Miami Hurricanes. We'll see. It's going to be
D, what I will say, I think made more of a difference than anything. When you talk about the media push and all that, I think Mario did a tremendous job when he did his appearances, speaking about certain things along the way. I think he was very direct and straightforward with the way that he used his words in a lot of cases. So I give Mario a ton of credit for going out there this week and hitting the pavement, so to speak. And it was just the way he spoke was such. He was very sure about what he was saying, and he didn't need to. There was obviously there's politicking that is involved, but he was, again, I think he's a leader, and he led because talking to people throughout the program, like everyone was on pins and needles trying to figure out if we were going to make it or not. But the program has stuck together here, and that's his leadership and the culture that he has set throughout the program from top to bottom. And I'll give the Tyrannian Terrier his credit. Cam Gorby, great work, getting coach ready for all of these media appearances. Job well done, my friend.
Job well done to the Tehran Terrier. Yeah, man, a lot of people did a good job. I think just really, and great job to the players. I mean, I think just to finish, there's been everybody expected Pitt, not to say everybody, many, and part of me too. I'd say part of everybody expected that game on last Saturday against Pitt to end a different way. I think they all expected that to just go a different way. Ugly win or loss. And to win with such emphasis, I think was huge. I got to be honest, when CJ Daniels scored that last touchdown, like I didn't faint, but I got a little lightheaded because I was so fired up. I kind of checked myself like, man, what's wrong with you? But I was so fired up. I had not been that fired up for a play like watching football since I was a kid. So it was just something special, man. I had to cool down though afterwards with a nice cool can of BUZZN, BUZZN drink, BUZZN.com. First order, use code FIRST35 for 35% off at BUZZN. Drink BUZZN.com, BUZZN, 7.5 milligrams of real THC infused seltzer, also available at Big Daddy's Liquors.
I was about to say, D, I'm definitely heading over to Lomello's Meat Market this week to grab me some celebratory Wagyu. If you guys aren't local here in South Florida, you can order on lomellos.com. The best Wagyu beef in the game. You got the prime cuts as well. You get promo code CIS10 for 10% off your order. Lomellos.com or 9810 South Dixie Highway. Look at that beautiful tomahawk on the grill. But we are, I think we're celebrating. We're taking a deep breath these next couple days, D, right? I mean, it's obviously we're going to be getting into the matchup. We got a lot of portal stuff to get to, but I think today and tomorrow we'll be very happy. And then we aren't the team, but we gotta get locked in on A&M.
By the way, you know what else is going to be awesome next year? Right here, next year, Miami Notre Dame. It's going to be a hell of a game, man.
Yeah.
Which obviously, look, it's just so cool to be part of real games, again, in real moments, real stuff. I mean, this is real.
Every game the last 2 years that the Miami Hurricanes have played in has had playoff implications. Every single one, D. Every single one. That's not a stretch. Every game has mattered. And that's great. I think, obviously, you preserve a lot of that with the way that they honored the head-to-head today, right? You preserve the regular season mattering. You can say that this, obviously, Notre Dame is going to feel like they couldn't get in or should have gotten in. I think probably the way the system is set up with JMU and Tulane getting in, that probably shouldn't be happening if we're being honest. But the regular season still has some importance. It was shown with the way that this thing played out. So,
Yeah, great point here from Miami LB saying credit to Mara for keeping the team up. And this is not just Mara. I think this is the whole staff plus the leadership on the team. Don't forget that aspect of it. For keeping the team up after the SMU loss. Any other team losing SMU would have dismantled and broken. He kept everyone positive. Yeah, I think Mario, the staff, and then also the leadership on this team, the Mark Fletchers, right, of the world, guys like that who really sort of push this team and lead this team and provide the juice that they need. Of course, I mean, even like a young player like Malachi Tony, I mean, he's a leader through his actions, and I think even more so with his words going forward. By the way, Pete, we had to do this spot. I never thought I'd see this day, so we got to say it. We got one Cuban head coach in the playoffs. Another one won the ACC, dubious, but we got to claim it at least. And then a Cuban Heisman winner. So I'm gonna be talking about Islas Canarias, the #1 Cuban restaurant on the planet. Look at this menu, man. 7 different types of croquetas. I'm actually heading out here to celebrate. I have to today. You got the sandwiches, the cubaritos, the salads, all kinds of pastries, sweets, salty, you name it, the bowls, desserts, shakes, all kinds of Cuban coffee. You name it, they got it. Islas Canarias Express in the Dayland Mall Dining Pavilion, the #1 Cuban restaurant on planet Earth. Right there, baby. There is Kane's thing. Is Spanish causing panic? You might have the top 2 quarterbacks with him and Pavia. What a world we live in, man. Things are crazy. The Canes are back, and then the world's gone crazy.
Unbelievable, man. Just speechless, really. I mean, because I didn't have any expectations. That's what makes it so fun, I think.
Yeah, it's just exactly. Expect the worst, right? That's your defense mechanism. Dr. Goanaga got you.
It is. She gave the diagnosis there.
Nick Isaac asked how's the team been practicing. I don't know.
No, last week they didn't practice. They didn't have a game this last week. So yeah, last week they didn't practice, but
I just know in general the mood around the team from everything I've heard, and I've heard this for a while, but like particularly after that finish with Pitt, I mean, these guys are feeling good. They're feeling confident. They feel healthier. It's a lot of good energy. Obviously, it would have been a huge setback if we didn't get in here, and then you would never see some of these guys again. But
they've locked in. They've been locked in mentally, though, from what you're saying and what I've heard as well. They've stayed in this mental space. Some guys have some decisions to make, whether or not to come back. Like Markel Bell, for example. I'm expecting some clarity on that in the next week or so. But I don't know how this sort of thing kind of extends that timeline now.
Yeah, it's
and then guys who are going to enter the portal potentially too. D.
Yeah, maybe they have second thoughts playing in that playoff atmosphere. Although I think the guys that we want back, I think they'll. I mean, there's so much juice around the program right now. Why wouldn't they be back? What's up here? Yeah, people asking for Mike. We're getting Mike Ryan. I don't know where he's at right now, but we'll have a whole separate show. We're gonna be.
Mike was playing soccer at 11, so I don't know. He may be finishing. He may have just finished up not too long ago.
Does he not want to see you on the pitch?
No, well, he played in a game after me.
I see.
Mike was, but I gotta say, Mike was a little down this morning. I don't know how confident he was.
He was,
but obviously got the job done. So
yeah, he was. I was worried too, man. I was watching my son pitch. I was just kind of sitting there like, man, you got to appreciate these nice moments because you're about to be pissed off in a couple hours. Turned out to be all right.
Lucky Luciano says Notre Dame fans' biggest issue seems to be with Bama. They had a conundrum there with Bama, just the way they had one with Miami and Notre Dame, but I think just because you say, hey, you're going to punish them for losing the SEC championship when you're the 1 seed there, they look bad in that game, but they also beat that same team earlier in the year. So they were going to really devalue that. The SEC would have not been too happy about that. The power play would have been too strong there, in my opinion.
Yeah, and look, I think ultimately at the end of the day, it was about merit a lot as opposed to like who they think is playing well, because Alabama's not playing well. I mean, look, I've criticized Notre Dame and their resume and all that, but Notre Dame against Alabama right now, I'm picking Notre Dame with my eyes closed, right? So I think they said ultimately what mattered was resume here, with Miami obviously beating Notre Dame at similar metrics, and then the Alabama quality wins versus Notre Dame, which lost their 2 biggest games and then really kind of feasted on teams that weren't as good. So I think that's what made Notre Dame the vulnerable team here, even though as we sit here today, Pete, I mean, would you agree with me that you're taking Notre Dame over Alabama 10 out of 10 times. Not they couldn't win, but like betting, I mean, I think Notre Dame's a clear.
I think Mike's going to join us now. He just texted us. He said,
good.
let's go live. So I don't even know that he
Oh, yes. Send him the link. Send the link. Appreciate you, CRG man, very much. Trying to do our best with the content, and there's a lot of plenty more to come. We're going to be spamming you guys with stuff here on the CanesInsight.com. Also got some pretty exciting stuff happening there. I'm going to announce pretty soon. And then obviously on the channel every single day. While you're trying to kill some time, getting ready for this playoff game, now when you're not watching Canes content, why don't you give your free time a raise? That's with KashKick, KashKick, in the App Store, 4.5 plus average rating, 1.5 million plus downloads. Download the app, you do surveys, play all the games that you're already playing, doing all that kind of stuff, browsing, and then you're making real money on the side. It goes right to your PayPal while you're just having fun competing, playing games that you'd be playing anyways on your phone. All you gotta do is download the KashKick app, KashKick. Again, one of the biggest apps in the country, very much. People think it's too good to be true. It's real. Check out the website. Check out the app. KashKick, KashKick, and the App Store.
I'll tell you what, when I saw the orange and green come across that screen, I thought it was too good to be true.
Seriously, man. Oh, here we go. Okay, so the playoff time is released according to my boy Trenton Breeze. He's saying December 20th at 12 p.m. High noon, baby.
So
High noon.
That'll be 11 a.m. local time there, just like that SMU game.
Yeah. Hey, let's go. It's rights and wrongs. We're back in Texas, baby. We are back in Texas. So
Amon Richard says games matter.
There he is. Looking forward to the Amon show on Tuesday, man. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna have some.
G says, "Does accountable Pete exist? Accountable for what? I'm trying to understand what you guys."
I think it's you just saying you weren't gonna campaign. You're gonna let the chips fall where they fall. But look,
and I did.
They fell fine.
But how am I accountable for that? I let the chips fall where they fell, and they fell in a beautiful place. That has nothing to do with me. Obviously, I wasn't needed.
Yeah,
how is that accountable? I just think that again, I don't know I don't know how much any of that stuff matters. I think the team winning how they did.
CJ Daniels and Malachi Tony and Carson Beck are the reason. Oh, here we go. The 5-star general, the one and only Mike Ryan. Mike, how we feeling?
I'm living large, pal. Rescue done. Rescue done.
Dude, it was a tiring campaign, man. Multi-purpose, multi-fronts. I mean, it was all systems go here for a couple weeks, man. How you feeling now that you've seen the successful objective met?
I didn't think it was going to happen. I didn't. I was really worried after Bama got stomped. It kind of felt like from every interview and CFP TV show, they just trotted out for the first time the notion, spoken out loud, the notion of a buffer, and that you need this ridiculous direct side-by-side comparison. And I kind of got optimistic when I saw Alabama number 9, because I'm like, This is because I was fearful that they were going to be used to avoid that. And once I saw Alabama flash, I'm like, hell yeah, I was way more prepared for this discussion. I've been working on this discussion for a month. I didn't really anticipate Alabama being part of the mix and going up against the SEC and Greg Sankey with our leadership. So once it got down to what we had been training for a month on end, and I just knew football was going to win out. You also have the added benefit of no conference getting its feelings hurt by leaving Notre Dame out. I wish I would have really chewed on that one a little bit more to pacify myself, because I was really sick to my stomach thinking it wasn't going to happen. But, dude, I am so happy and proud of the team. Yeah, a lot of media members stuck their neck out for this thing to work, because make no mistake about it, it needed to be a month-long conversation. It needed to be as long and as annoying and tireless as it was. But I am so proud of this team. This was truly a playoff team in a field that maybe for the first time ever should have been 14 deep, right? Like, this was crazy. There's a lot of good teams that had an opportunity.
Don't give JMU and Tulane free walks in. But
yeah, that'll probably be fixed. But for the team to respond the way that they did, for them to be playing really good football right now, I agree. It's the best football they've played all season. They're playing better now than when they were number 2. And watching that game back, I was so excited that that was a part of the criteria that Hunter Yurachek revealed that, hey, let's pop this on. We know these teams are similar now. Let's see what happened week 1. And it was true. Like, we weren't propagandists there. Like, Miami controlled that game. It was a 3-point game, but if you were really there, Miami had several opportunities to make that potentially a 3-score game, and they kept getting A-gap stuffed, which ended up being something that led to the midseason hiccup. But Miami was better D, like by a good amount. And if they were going to rewatch that game, that was only going to reinforce that. It wasn't flawed. There weren't flags everywhere. So I know I'm rambling. I'm sorry about that. But I'm first and foremost proud of Mario Cristobal in this program because they deserved it. They did so much to overcome the already implied bias of that U. That's how good their play had to be to outweigh that. And then for everybody else that stuck their neck out and was a part of the war, it's just begun, my friend.
Yeah, man. So comment here from CFC, one of the Boa boys. He said Inter and Messi won 2 this weekend, a City of Champions. I mean, Mike, those are your 2 big scoops, right? Mario and Messi, man, both feeling pretty good right now.
Yeah, I hadn't considered that, but I was at the Inter Miami game, and I was like, I don't even care about this. Like, the stakes aren't high enough for me right now because I've been on these front lines. But yeah, it's been a great year for sports in South Florida. All those championships. Has Peter been super pumped about Messi having the greatest MLS season ever?
Well, that's debatable. But I love Messi. I love Messi.
So Daniel Rose says, apology. And then Mike, this, you were in the same boat. I thought you were QAnon levels of credulity when you were saying we're still alive a week ago. Mike, you are a student of professional wrestling, as am I. Again, I think society as a whole would be smart to pay attention to some of the lessons there. Might be able to anticipate events a little better and understand things truly. This to me seemed like a straight WWE setup, big blow off with the weekly show. Obviously, some things had to fall in place for that to happen, but I didn't see a world where they did not flip. Yeah, I guess I did see a world, but it just seemed implausible that they would do all this setup and then just kind of go chalk with something that they knew everybody would hate.
Yeah, I guess I should have trusted my wrestling training there a little bit, but I think the conspiracy theories, because Miami is a school with a persecution complex that is deserved. I just thought something larger was at play. I felt like if there was ever an example in history to go against your written criteria, it would be the bias that is implied with the University of Miami.
Well, let me ask you something, Mike, because did you watch Yurachek and all these guys? Because we went live right after the thing popped, so I don't even know what they're saying. Like, what's their explanation, and what's your read on the whole thing, having watched it?
Look, we talked about this some. Like, the dream scenario was Notre Dame getting totally blindsided, and I will concede that is not fair. I think Notre Dame is a playoff team. I think they should have been in over Alabama. We've always said that Notre Dame is a really good team, and it was a shame that we were never going to win the propaganda war against avoiding this cluster. But yeah, I would feel like really betrayed by what I've seen. It feels like the last 4 weeks were a setup for this eventuality between Miami and Notre Dame. And people will say that it's unjust, and they're going to find a lot of agreement there. I agree with it. They shouldn't have rope-a-doped them. But for me, they should have had them closer or had Miami ahead of Notre Dame the whole way. That's the thing that was just stupid on their part. Like right now, Peter, they're going to be saying that it's an injustice, and I would push back slightly on that, because I would say the real injustice here is normalizing to your audience that it doesn't matter. Like, I even understood and even argued with that we shouldn't have been ahead of them in the initial rankings. I got that. I wasn't going to muster up that argument, but I always alluded to, like, if Miami shows a way to rebound from this, then you make it right. Get 2 wins to see if Miami's season has imploded or if they're growing from it. They've grown from it. But I mean, once we got to that Syracuse game, what are we doing here? This is the easiest thing in the world. So I think, look, I understand the confidence. They're a national runner-up. The brand is incredibly strong and healthy right now for Notre Dame. But no one could actually look you in the eye and argue for it. It was always some like weird cluster thing or playing right now, and you could easily poke holes in it. Marcus Freeman hasn't been able to do a single piece of media where he picks his head up because he knows he didn't have the winning argument there, which is why they pivoted.
The funny thing is, I've seen Notre Dame fans complaining already that, well, because this is the first time they've really been screwed for not being in a conference, right, in the history of being Notre Dame, and they're already saying, well, we should end our relationship with the ACC because they pushed for Miami here. It's like, you can't have it both ways. You want to join a conference, join a damn conference then. Go join the Big Ten. We'll see how it is for you every single year, right? Join the ACC for real. And see how that maybe changes things, right? ACC, we know, is not a good conference, but like, as you have alluded to, Mike, it means something. So, yeah, I think that's why Notre Dame fans are all over the place today, because of how things have played out here.
Here, look at this tweet. So it just popped right now. Keontae Scott, his avatar is a young man with his hand up. Now, even though the avatar looks more like Ryan Gosling in Remember the Titans, who struggled at cornerback significantly more than Keontae Scott, I think what he's saying is he's expecting to be ready to rock and roll in these playoffs, which, you know, beyond just wanting the team to be better, I mean, you really want everybody that's contributed to be along for the journey and not just watching. So I really, really hope Keontae Scott can play, not just because, again, he's a great player. He's one of the best corners in the country, one of the best defensive backs, but the fact that this guy's done so much to get them there. I would love, win or lose, for it to be on the field. So good omen there with the Avi, but we'll see. But that's I like that. Okay, so here we go. So here's Juracek cooking. I didn't hear him talk, so this is all new to me. We were recording right when this thing ended. So he says, once we moved Miami ahead of BYU, we had that side-by-side comparison that everyone had been hungering for, called their resumes almost equal. If we had the one metric we have to fall back on was head-to-head. So, again, this is exactly what we've been saying for a while, but I'm going to give credit to the original person who said this, which was, can I say this, Mike? Is this
Wait, I have to take a FaceTime real quick. You go ahead. I'm going to pause.
Yeah. Well, Bear Felica, off the record, I didn't want to say it until it happened. He's been saying this was going to happen the whole time. He's been saying, this is what I think is going to happen. He said, they got to be touching. I said, like, I didn't understand it, honestly, at first when he kept saying that. But they're getting Mike out for some privacy here. He'll bounce back when he's ready. I
thought it was pretty funny seeing his muted reaction to whoever he was talking to.
Yeah, when he's ready, we'll bring him in. Just put his hand up when he's ready. But yeah, there he is.
He's ready.
There he's back. Oh, there he is. There you go, Mikey. No doubt. But I was saying that Bear Felica.
What did Mario?
Oh, yeah, put your volume on.
That was very funny, Pete. Not going to confirm or deny.
Oh man, let's go. Yeah, man. Bear is a legend. Bear's been calling this one exactly how it was going to happen the whole time. Bear said exactly the scenario to the button. And then I think when you saw Alabama jump Notre Dame for no reason, for beating a bad Auburn team, and then staying right where they were despite playing as bad as you could possibly play, I think it was clear that what we're seeing here in this tweet, which we've been talking about the Canes Inside podcast, go back and look, is exactly what they were setting up. Otherwise, the way you treated Alabama and Notre Dame made no sense other than the fact that you're trying to set this up, which they were planning to do the whole time.
Boys, that's my garage alert opening up. I got the family coming here.
Put a shirt on.
Yeah, I think I should finally take a shower.
It was a hot one at the Trop.
It was
today.
a hot one.
It was a hot one. I was saying that you might be finishing up on the pitch, man. It was a scorcher.
Yeah, I was drenched in sweat, but I didn't have time to shower, so I'm in my leggings right now, smelling like
drenched in blood, sweat, and tears, man.
Man, I'm so happy we did this, man. Pete, are you satisfied?
Dude, I have been satisfied. I've been satisfied.
He's been happy as a clam for a week.
I've been happy for a couple of weeks here now that we won 10. This is a cherry on top, man. This is a special time.
One quick thing, real quick. The collective and the people that got in grassroots and turned this thing around, from Rudy Fernandez, understanding that Mario was the right fit at the right time. Hey, honey, we made it to the playoff.
Let's go.
Yeah, from that decision and all the work that went behind it, and all the people put in their money where their mouth was, really really turn this thing
Hello.
around, and
Hey, what's up?
we're really really happy about that.
What's up? The number one young actor.
All right, bye guys.
See ya. Awesome, man. Awesome stuff. Yeah, Manny Kadre, a lot of people. Danny Cannell, Miami can win the whole thing. I mean, that's what everybody said. Miami can win the whole thing, man. So that is interesting, though, Pete. I mean, look, we see it right now in print. That's Pete Thamel. I'm assuming that's an exact quote. I mean, we said this exact scenario on the Canes Inside podcast, like directly, and people looked at me like I was watching too much NWA from 1989.
They said something completely opposite earlier in the cycle, and they hadn't used it as a metric yet. Or they hadn't, so that's why it was like hard to believe. But
that's again another lesson in wrestling. If you try to think about it, it makes no sense. All the little permutations and who's right and what's wrong. It's all blowing up, setting up for the blowout, which is on a Sunday on pay-per-view, which was today at noon. And yeah, man, happy as a clam. We got to have something better than a clam. We've been happy as clams. We got to be what's happier than a clam is whatever we are.
Crazy, man.
By the way, Pete, I don't want to not say it. Your boys look good yesterday again too. Our boys, the Canes hoops.
Yeah. And really with only a 7-man rotation because you had Dante Allen out, Marcus Allen out, and who else was out yesterday? There was someone else who was not playing. Maybe I'm missing something, but yeah, they were down a couple guys there, tied at halftime, and came out in the second half and handled business, man. Really, really excited where that thing's going right now, man.
Yeah, appreciate you, by the way. Appreciate you, the juice, or your support. I mean, if you look at it, and let's just take a step back because we'll have time to talk basketball more. I mean, this is obviously a reaction show, but I wanted to bring it up because, baseball in the Cups of Omaha last year, right? Tremendous progress, and this is their most talented team ever by far. I've seen it, not ever, in this Artiaga era, by far, when I saw them in fall. The basketball team is starting to look like they have an identity, they have talent, they're fun to watch. They're gonna cause a lot of problems in the ACC for a lot of people. And now football, which is of course the crown jewel, the thing that drives this whole thing, is one of the, let's just say, we're one of the top 10 programs in the country right now. I think that's when you look at back-to-back 10-win seasons, potential for more. We're currently ranked in the top 10. We're in the top 10 of recruiting. We're going to be in the top 10 of the portal. We're going to be a preseason top 10. I think you could say right now that the Miami Hurricanes are a top 10 program in America, period. Yeah. And that hasn't been the case for 20 years.
Thank you, Dan Radakovich, and the entire leadership group that we've been talking about here. DZ Din says, guys, today was insane. Notre Dame was minus 3,500 at noon to make it. Yeah, that was the stunner to me. It was looking like it was Miami or Bama there.
Yeah. But then, when you saw the Bama logo, it's kind of like, whoa. You just didn't like, I didn't have the same reaction as Mike. I was just more like, whoa, what? Okay. And then you kind of said, okay, let's see how this goes. Are they going to be that ballsy to put Notre Dame over Miami? And of course, public pressure on bureaucrats had a predictable result, which is they bent to the public pressure. The hard part was, honestly, I don't know. Look, I don't know. We'll never know, right, Pete, if this is the case. But when Nick Saban, the greatest coach in college football history, Jimmy Johnson might have had it if he stayed, but we have to say the greatest coach in college football history, even with all the cheating and everything else. When he goes out there and says Miami kicked Notre Dame's butt, Miami deserves to be in, and that's like, you can't say, well, the Hunter Yurachek eye test says Miami shouldn't be in. You know what I mean? At that point, at a minimum, and I think, again, we'll learn more about the decision-making process in the next couple of days, but I think at that point, they're close, right? The metrics are close. The eye test, maybe we see it one way, maybe Nick Saban sees it another way, but at least it's close, right? He's not seeing something crazy. So then that allows the head-to-head to do what it should have done from the beginning.
Crazy, man. What an afternoon. I'm excited to read some of this stuff online, man, and see what people are saying about it. I really don't care if they don't think we should get in, but they're in.
Hollywood Arsenal says reports where ADs were tired of Notre Dame taking all the money while conference teams have to split it. Whatever it takes, man. Look, at the end of the day, that's what their internal issues are. The public, every time there was a poll, and these were not biased, like there's not Canes Inside making a poll, 70% or more. And I like this. Look at this. Okay, this is a new thing. I think Mike mentioned this, but I hadn't seen it in print. Hunter Yurachek says he told committee members to go back and watch Notre Dame versus Miami. So, I think that was a point that I was trying to make. I said this when I went on the ACC network show, the Gramlich and McClain podcast with Kelly and with Mac, which is, this was like 3 weeks ago. This was 4 weeks ago. I said, look, we could talk about the head-to-head. We need to talk more about the head-to-head eye test, right? When they were on the field, forget the result. We know the result. How did it look? Was it a fluky win? Was it a turnover kind of weird bounce win? Punt gets blocked, guy gets hurt, backup quarterback kind of deal, or the young quarterback? No, I mean, the young quarterback was the best player for Notre Dame. Miami won because they held the best pair of backs in the country. I can say it with pretty good certainty, although they're not going to be in the playoff, thankfully. Jeremiah Love and Price, they held them to under 100 yards collective. So that's why Miami beat Notre Dame. There was nothing fluky about it. There was nothing, fortuitous about it. It was Miami had better big players, and the better big players won them the game. And that's something that doesn't change over the course of the year unless guys get healthy, which they really haven't. It's not like Notre Dame is bringing guys off the bench I think maybe they got one guy back, but it's not like they were bringing back a ton of big guys. Their defensive line is still going to be mismatched against Miami's offensive line, and Miami's defensive line is still going to be mismatched against Notre Dame's offensive line. Although the truth is, we never know how that rematch will go because Miami's 1-0 against Notre Dame, and Notre Dame not playing any more football that means anything. So enjoy the Pop-Tart Bowl. We'll see you next year without Jeremiah Love, and we'll be ready to rock.
Man, can't believe it. I really can't believe it. It's crazy.
6,200 on, man. P, we gotta do some fun stuff here in these couple weeks to just keep it.
Yeah, that's
fun.
what I'm excited for. We gotta get some guests on. Line a lot of that stuff up because, man, it's exciting. Maybe do some of these. Remember we used to do those Thursday night like Q&As.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe do some stuff at night because I know there's a different crowd that gets us live at night. So
100%. Well, there's going to be a lot of marbling going on. I'll tell you that. A lot of Lomellos being served. And we'll be hearing a lot about OrchidMan Florida, OrchidMan Florida, Florida's top landscape artisans, Palm Beach down to the Keys. You want a beautiful landscape, talk to OrchidMan. That's 786-271-0332 or OrchidManFlorida.com. 10% off your first service. And this is first class, man. You want to have a beautiful landscape in your property, in your house. OrchidManFlorida.com. They'll make it easy. They'll be your point guard for the whole operation, manage the details, the stuff you don't want to think about, the maintenance, the irrigation, right? All the stuff that you want to leave it to the experts here at OrchidMan Florida, OrchidManFlorida.com. I'll bring Pete back out here in a second. What we got here? Yeah, the leprechauns, man. People are feeling the pressure. I kind of want to see what these guys are saying. Let me just pull up. I've not been on Twitter, right? So I've not been able to bask in the tears, although I'm pretty sure there's a Notre Dame tears thread on Canes Insights. Let's go to that. That makes it easy. Here we go. Irish tears. So one of the best things about CanesInsight.com, 7.7 million posting counting, I believe. I got to check that. But one of the busiest Canes boards on the planet. Look at this right here. The board's going crazy, as you can imagine. But here is a thread called Irish Tears. There's tears threads for various rival programs, all three of which Miami beat this year: Notre Dame, Florida, and Florida State. So clearly the Irish Tears thread is getting a lot of updating right now. So look at this here. Oh, man, one of those guys who called all these Miami players thugs, what they're thinking about. They lost their jobs and they didn't make the playoffs because of Miami. Whitlock saying something stupid. He's been an idiot during this process, I got to say. Talia, sorry for your loss, Talia. I know she's been, oh, there it is. It's time Notre Dame joins a conference. You see the GIF? This is what you get on the tears thread, man. Yeah, so a lot of their anger seems to be towards Alabama, which, like, I get that they're mad about Alabama, but I think that's why they got to join the conference, man.
That's what I'm saying. Like you can't have it both ways. This is the first time they've actually been put in a disadvantage for not being at a conference. And I think it's a message that's being sent, quite frankly.
And I think a lot of the older Notre Dame fans, Look at how pissed off they are. Join a conference. Oh man, they're so pissed off. Let's ESPN pick the playoffs from here on out. Look at that. Just bask in their tears here. Lawsuit. This cost us 20 million. Collusion.
I mean, listen, we would have had the same post on Kane's Insight. So
100%. But look, at the end of the day, I think truthfully, Notre Dame, the reason they pivoted so fast to Alabama when it looked dicey was because they know the head-to-heads, right? Notre Dame had a head-to-head argument with Florida State when Florida State claimed the national championship, their first national championship, even though Notre Dame had beaten them. So, I think that aspect of it, the fact that they know head-to-head is what matters. So they're frustrated. I get it. I'd be frustrated with Alabama because truthfully, the SEC did not deserve 5 teams in this year. I don't think. We'll find out when we play. We're going to play Texas A&M, which I thought was the best team in the conference all year. So, let's spot the ball and prove it. 6,400 on live. But,
they're pumped, man. I'm telling you, they are pumped inside, as they should be inside that building. I think it's going to be some real juice coming out of there the next few weeks, man.
Yeah, let's get Wisconsin's Xavier Lucas lawyers. Man, imagine if you're Wisconsin, you're watching Xavier Lucas in a playoff game and you suck so bad. You're like one of the worst teams ever. That's beautiful, man. All right. Well, listen, we're going to do this again soon, but appreciate everybody joining us on the show. We're 6,400 on. Like and subscribe. There's going to be a ton of content coming this way. If you're new to us, again, like and subscribe. We're doing multiple shows pretty much every day, man. It's going to be nonstop. And great time to be a Hurricane, fellas and ladies. Go Canes,
Go
baby.
Canes.